Welcome to Play Branson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. My name is Chris Meyer, and I'm here with my co-host today, Haley Westrich. Haley, good to see you as always.
Thanks, you too.
So we got an exciting guest today coming up.
We do. We've got the Piano Man with us today.
The Piano Man.
Yes, Mr. David Brooks.
Yes, and I have seen him play that piano, and he is quite amazing.
He's pretty good.
So that'll be interesting to see that interview here in just a little bit. I do need to give a shout out, though, to Jason Pritchard. He was one of our guests in early June.
Yes.
And so I went to see him out at the Silver Dollar City, their summer concert series.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and he rocked the house.
Nice.
And it was amazing. You know, I had a buddy with me from L.A., and he said, I'm like, you need to come hear this country singer. And he looked over at me, and he's like, this isn't country, this is rock. And so it was rock and country. And so, Jason, you did an amazing job out there. If you haven't seen Jason, haven't got his CD, be sure to check that out. We appreciate him so much. The other thing I want to mention, kind of every once in a while, we will do a little vacation tip. This is the new edition of the Flavor of Branson. So if you're coming to Branson, want to get information on all the restaurants in town, this is the publication to get. There's about 40 coupons in here, so people want to save money, want to stretch your dollars to go a little further. Be sure to check that out. I think you can also get those coupons at bransonrestaurants.com. Now, we got to get into our most favorite segment of this section. This is dumb questions or things that make you go, And then we'll ask a good question later. So I know if you're watching out there, you're going to be like, this is dumb, but it's fun. So here we go. The first question, you know those little indestructible black boxes that are in the airplanes?
Yes.
Why don't they just make the whole plane like that?
Yeah, why don't they?
I don't know. You know, the box is always intact after the wreck. So there you go. Next one. What hair color do they put on the driver's license of bald men?
Would that just be like N/A?
Not available. Yeah, not applicable.
Mm-hmm.
This is an interesting one. Why do they put Braille on the drive-through ATM machines? Think about that
question.
one. And I've seen that.
Yes, I have too.
That's crazy. It's a government rule, I'm sure. Now, here's an interesting one. How come there aren't any B batteries?
Yeah.
You got A, you got C, you got D, but what happened to B?
The B.
So if you know the answer to that, I personally would like to know. So let us know on Facebook what the answer to that one is. Okay, here's the good question. This is kind of the thought-provoking question, okay? Would you be willing to have horrible nightmares for a year if you would be rewarded with extraordinary wealth?
I don't know. I mean, I'd wake up scared every night, and then I wouldn't go back to sleep, so I don't know if it'd be worth it or not.
Yeah, that's the question, is like, would it make your life so devastating that 1 year, like, would it be worth it or not? And, like, if you could mentally, like, say, hey, this is a nightmare, it's no big deal, but
right.
It's an interesting question.
It is.
Interesting question. Okay, that's our crazy segment. So we'll be back in just a moment to talk to our
David
guest.
Brooks.
Yeah.
The Best Western Music Capital Inn. It's Branson's ultimate hotel located across from the famous Shoji Tabuchi Theater. Relax in the indoor pool and hot tub. Enjoy the free hot breakfast every day. Gather in the lobby to reconnect with friends and family. For more information or to make reservations, call 877-334-8378.
Welcome back to Play Branson. We're here with David Brooks. David, it's good to have you here.
It's good to be here.
So you have performed in Branson really for a very long time.
About 14 years on and off.
So kind of give people a little bit background on your history and how you got to Branson.
How far back do you want me to go?
Well, just your performing aspect, I guess.
Well, I grew up in Arkansas, and central Arkansas, and had a huge, heavy church background, and that's where I cut my teeth learning how to play. Matter of fact, that's what I did when I first got out of high school, was hit the road playing professional gospel music. I played for a number of groups that some of your viewers might be aware of, the Hensons, Gold City, and people like that, for a number of years before I went back to school and got a degree in a real job that I don't ever use. During that time, I was music minister at a church for about 5 years, and then I transitioned up here. I believe it was about 2003, July of 2003 is when I moved to Branson and did my first show here. 50s at the Hop was the first
Okay.
show I did here.
Yeah.
And I've been with a number of shows. You can pretty much throw a rock and hit a theater that I've performed in this town. And then, of course, the latest being last year, up until last year, the last 2 seasons, up until this past January, I was Jerry Lee Lewis in the $1 Million Quartet.
And so you did a fabulous job. I saw you perform
Thank
that,
you.
and man, you can play the piano. There's no question about that.
Thank you.
So,
Well, I've been a Branson Piano Player of the Year 4 times too, so
Wow.
I guess that means I'm pretty good.
yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Well, and I happen to have a CD here,
Hey, I know that guy. He's really good.
and so it's called The Piano Man. And so is that kind of what you kind of go by, or what people would know you as?
Right now, I do currently, actually for the past number of years, but I just kind of transitioned into doing it full time, doing my own show called the Piano Man Xperience. That's X, Piano Man, it starts with an X, Experience. And we go out on cruise ships and do headliner shows. So I've been out on 5 different lines so far this year. So if you're going on a cruise, be sure and ask for me.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. You know, a lot of Branson entertainers do go out on cruises.
Absolutely, they do.
So, Haley, you have a question?
So, okay, planning your show, were there any influences in your life that helped you get your show together?
Oh, God, you mean like performers?
Sure.
Well, of course, Jerry Lee. I mean, obviously, you know, I do not go out and do a show without doing at least one Jerry Lee song, because
Right.
that's kind of my signature thing, and normally it's what I close the show with. But, you know, I like a number of different styles, and, you know, that kind of led me to want to go out on my own and do something besides just the screaming and the hollering, because I love doing that, and that's what everybody knows me as.
Right.
But I do like the chance to get to do something besides that.
Sure.
So I get to do a little bit of everything from Ray Charles and Billy Joel, some Elton John. I do some instrumental pieces. Love to do ragtime. Absolutely love it. But you know, I also do some Little Richard and Jerry Lee and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
because, you know, I can't get away from it.
No.
So you started in Southern Gospel.
I did.
Which, for a young kid, kind of seems unique and different. And so were you like, did you grow up with the music, or?
I grew up with the music, always loved the music. I'm so anti. This is going to sound really bad, and you know, for everybody that loves it, I'm happy. I'm glad music should reach people, no matter who they are, no matter what style of music it is. You know, and if you know, contemporary Christian or praise and worship gets to people and moves them, that's great. But that is not me. I'm old school. I will always be old school. I want it to sound like gospel music, and so that's what I'm drawn to. So Southern gospel is always, you know, if I'm going to do gospel music, it's gonna be Southern.
Yeah, and you know, and I think that's the beautiful thing about music, is there's so many varieties that, you know, people can listen to it in a lot of different ways, but also you can praise the Lord in a lot of different ways.
Right.
I don't
Absolutely.
think if it's only one way in the Bible, someone needs to show it that way too.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
I mean, so that's cool. That's really neat. Okay, this is probably a great place to take a break. We'll be back in just a moment.
Taking the to the world, to all the boys and girls. Joy to the fishes and the deep blue sea, and joy to you and me. I said now, joy to the fishes, the deep blue sea, and joy to you and me. Ow! Hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, don't come back no more. What you say? Hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit that road, Jack, don't come back no more. gracious, great balls of fire. Goodness gracious. Ladies and gentlemen, David Brooks!
Welcome back to Play Branson. We're here with piano extraordinaire David Brooks.
And
Piano Man.
That's a tall order.
I said piano extraordinaire. That was kind of weird.
That's okay. I've actually said that before. Well,
So-
somebody said that. I haven't said that.
But here's the deal. And this is the authentic aspect of this is if we screw up, we just keep going.
Hey, that's the way to do it. That's the way I
So-
roll.
Yeah.
There you go. So, David, we just got finished talking about your whole gospel background, and you're actually in a gospel show here in town. So, tell us a little bit about that.
We do the Old Time Gospel Hour at the IMAX every Sunday morning from 11 to 12. I do it with a lady. Her name is Sue Phillips here in town. It's actually her show, her service, whatever you want to call it. We do nothing but old time gospel music. Myself and another gentleman and her have a trio, and we sing and have a good time. Have some guests from time to time, but we have a good time, and we sing songs that I grew up with, and like we were talking about a minute ago, you know, the old time standards that a lot of people still remember and still like to hear, and it's getting harder and harder to find those, especially in a church service.
Right.
So I feel blessed to get to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
So from a piano standpoint, like, are you self-taught? Did you have to take training for 5-10 years? Talk about like how that all works.
You know, I took lessons when I was a little kid and absolutely hated it because I was one of the little kids that would get up the morning of the lesson and try to fool the teacher and practice right before I went to school, and then show up and she would be like, "You didn't practice at all, did you?" And I'm like, but then you know, thankfully. Through different channels, I went and heard my first gospel concert when I was probably 12 or 13 years old, and I heard Anthony Berger play the piano,
Yes.
and I was just like, I want to do like that. I want to be able to play like that and bounce that bench up and down and do all the crazy stuff that he used to do. So that's what led me down that path. We found a teacher that helped me develop my ear. Not that you can teach someone to play by ear, but that definitely helps. And that goes without saying for any style of music. I mean, if you want to play any type of popular music, it is a great advantage. I won't say you can't do it, but it is an extreme advantage to be able to play by ear.
Okay.
And that kind of led me down the road that, you know, and music is music. And so, you know, that kind of, you know, led me into more secular paths, but it's all the same, you know. And music, like I said, music is music, and you learn to adapt to whatever style.
So you're doing the cruises right now.
I am doing
and
cruises.
You're doing this.
And call and ask for me. No.
So, but if somebody said, "Hey, I want to have you for a corporate event," or
Absolutely.
some kind of, where would they get that information?
You
at?
can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Piano Man XP. XP? Yeah, just Piano Man XP. I had to ask her because she knows, and sometimes I don't. But and you can find out all the information about cruises I'm going on soon, or any events I may be doing in town, or anything like that. And also, you can purchase those CDs you have right there.
Right here, CDs. We'll put them close to you. So one's called Piano Man, and the other one's called Encore.
Yes.
So,
and I've got 2 new ones coming out later this year. I have 2 new. I got a Christmas one coming out, and I've got another one with some great songs on it.
I'm just curious, why aren't you smiling in these CDs?
They told me that made me look alluring.
So I always like to give entertainers like a hard time. I'm like, very rarely,
you
like
wanna know why?
99% of the time, they never smile in a CD.
I had smiling options, but I went with those because they make me look younger.
There you go.
It makes you look young. You kind of got this hey, folks, you gotta go buy the CD, see what I'm talking about. Let's see. We've covered most everything I think that we're going to cover when we told people how to get a hold of you. Wait, I actually do have one more question.
Yes.
Any future plans that would bring you back to the Branson stage, or would you,
want
to come back?
Know.
Or
it is entirely possible. I still based out of here, so it is entirely possible that I could show up anywhere at any given time. But I do want to say, you asked me a minute ago when we were on break about a story. This is the only one I could think of. When I was in the show $1 Million Quartet here, I used to have people all the time come up and say stuff to me that people really will say some of the strangest things you've ever heard when after a show. And I had it all several times. This happened. People would come up to me and say, "Is that your real hair?" And if
Yes.
anybody's seen the show, they know that I wore a wig in the show, a curly wig like Jerry Lee. Well, he didn't have a wig, but his hair was curly. And I would be like, "No, trust me, I would not wear my hair like this." But that's my funny story.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Well, folks, while we've been talking about Southern Gospel today, we do have the Southern Gospel Picnic is coming up at Silver Dollar City. That begins on August 24th. You're going to see a lot of big-name artists out there, from Joseph Habedank, I hope I said that right, Ernie Haas and Signature Sound, Legacy 5, a whole bunch more. It'll be a big time out there at Silver Dollar City coming up the end of August. Also, there's going to be some special gospel cruises on the Showboat Branson Bell during that week as well. So if you like gospel music, be sure to go to the Sunday Gospel, whatever we just talked about, the gospel, old time gospel hour. There we go. The old time gospel hour. Be sure to go to that while you're in town on Sundays over at IMAX, and then check out all this gospel music coming up the end of August. This has been another edition of Play Branson. If you are planning your entire Branson vacation, go to ibranson.com, where you can book your shows, attractions, and hotels, or call 1-877-ENTERTAIN. And it's been great having David Brooks on our show. Until next time, this is Play Branson. So, good to have you.
Thank you.